Running a business shouldn't feel like surviving a software group project. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow, none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in, an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together, from sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, all in one powerful platform. No messy integrations, no bouncing between tabs, and best of all, no spreadsheets. Stop managing software and start managing your business with one unified system. Try for free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Welcome to the Old Souls and Seekers podcast, brought to you by Satori Prime. If you're anything like us, you've been around and around the personal development and mindset block quite a few times. You've read the books, watched the videos, attended the seminars, and even worked with a coach or two, and yet you still find yourself searching for more. You may even feel stuck or that you should be farther along than where you are right now. And after doing over a decade of mindset work, we've come to this realization. Mindset work is like a small hit of dopamine that distracts you from your true work. You get these little hits of feeling better, only to be met with the same underlying conditions and patterns over and over again. Now, mindset was an important part of your evolution as well as ours, but it hits a plateau, and now you find yourself ready for that deeper layer of growth and expansion. If you're listening to this podcast, then you're ready to get off that Ferris wheel. This podcast is only for those that are ready to dive deep and do the real inner healing work. For those that are ready to move past more information into actual experiences. If you're looking for more understanding, then you've come to the wrong place. This is a home for old souls ready to fully embrace and remember who they truly are. Ready to make a profound difference in their lives and in the lives of others. So welcome home, dear one. We're excited to be part of your journey. Just a quick introduction, even if you're watching this on replay later. I want you to know that Ilan and I are here for one and only reason, and how we approach that is in a lot of different ways, but ultimately we're here to help you transform your mindset, transform your relationships, heal some really deep patterns inside the system. So we work on everything from mindset development here to basically rehabituating neurological patterns to healing really deep stuff which exists inside the system. And we'll talk about that today, because when people think of self-doubt and negative talk, they think about talking to themselves differently. But if you've ever tried to do that, how's that going? Right? So it's like our systems have, like any sports team, like a lot of momentum moving in a specific direction. And so we use different tools, first of all, to stop that momentum through awareness and mindfulness practices. And then we want to basically enable you to walk down a different path, right? So if a train is moving down a tracks and a lot of momentum, we first got to stop the train. Then we want to build new tracks. Then we want to move the train to the new tracks and let it start building momentum in a more desirable kind of experience. And so we'll talk about that through the lens of self-doubt and negative talk today. But you can apply this holistically to kind of any area of your life or anything that's happening in there. And there's really, from the way that we do things around here and the practices that we introduce people to, there's really nowhere in your life that you can't take this type of technology and use it to systematically, completely transform anything that's happening in your life. And we can say that with unequivocal, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, confidence that that's going to work for you, because we've tested this stuff on thousands of people. Over 18 years that Ilan and I have been in the coaching space. And so even over the last 5-6 years, the work has only gotten more potent, more powerful, and more interesting, to be perfectly honest. So if you're new here, the first thing I want to just let you know is we got you wherever you're at. You know, we've dealt with pretty much every circumstance that a human being has been in. We have worked with people who have a net worth of nearly $1 billion to people who are literally doing this work, living out of their car. And so, and every kind of breath of air in between. So we have a wide grasp of different situations that our people are in, and we can tell you that really it doesn't matter whether you've checked all the boxes that you're supposed to check in life, or whether you're completely struggling right now in some area of your life. If you really humbly and with commitment come and do this kind of work, there is absolutely no chance that this is not going to fantastically impact your life, impact your relationships, impact your relationship to health, impact your relationship to your finances. It's just impossible that it's not going to impact you greatly. So, um, we do always want to remind you that if you're new, you have access to the 28-day meditation challenge. You were enrolled into that automatically. You received your login instructions right when you signed up for this group. Please take advantage of that, right? And I promise you, whether you've meditated never or whether you've meditated a lot, these meditations are probably not like anything you've ever tried before. People often think of meditation as a practice where you sit around and try to quiet your mind. This is not that. This is also, it's not NLP. This is not hypnosis. This is none of those things. This is a way to begin to navigate your awareness into higher states of consciousness, and then understanding the practical functionality of that. Not just, oh my God, this is really nice. I have this floaty feeling and relaxed feeling in my body and in my head. That's great, because we want to be able to learn how to rest in our body. We also want to begin to identify the qualities of our consciousness and higher states of consciousness. We want to also be able to use that consciousness to understand how to actually heal what's happening inside of our body, to be with it in a way that we've never been with it. And so these meditations, whether you do nothing with us at all here, ever, whether you join a program, don't join a program, these meditations are extraordinarily profound. And just go read through the news feed of people who are sharing actively about their experiences with it. And I could tell you, most of you guys are not taking advantage of this resource. And I would implore you to do that, because that in itself could be massively game changing for you. Okay, so that's our kind of little carrot for you here. And then we're always here, our team's always here to have a conversation with about our programs, about how this work works. And so if you look above this post, there's a website called soulsandseekers.com/book. And if you go to that page, you can book a VIP one-on-one consultation with someone from our team to have conversations about what could this work look like for me? What could it provide? And do you want to put your time and resources into doing that? And we hope that you do. Okay. So with that said, welcome again. And today is going to be a chat on self-doubt and negative talk. Before I hand it over to Ilan to kind of kick this thing off, I just want to tell you that, again, Ilan and I have probably worked with well over 10,000 people. I would say easily at this point in time. And the reason we can say that is we've had personal clients. We've had thousands of people go through our programs. Ilan and I also train in other organizations, some of which we've worked with for years in business development and sales and marketing. And generally speaking, we've gotten to be in front of thousands of people through these organizations as well. So again, we've kind of worked with people at every facet of life, whether it's in performance, whether it's just learning how to be more peaceful and quiet yourself, whether you need some repair in a relationship and you don't understand why it's not working, or whether you just see yourself looping in similar patterns in these areas of life or even around finances. And you notice that you're kind of like sabotaging yourself. Okay. Sabotage can be very subtle. And the way that you know that you're sabotaging yourself is you are seeing or experiencing different variations of the same thing. Okay. So it's like you're in a job, you have this relationship with your boss, they antagonize you, you don't like it, you leave, you get another job, and you find out that the next boss is very, very similar to the last one, or you go through different relationships and you kind of end up with the same man or woman over and over again. You want to consider greatly that the common denominator in all these situations, if you're in a pattern, is you. And our system has this weird illusionary thing that it does where it makes it seem like something is happening to us or people are doing something to us. And that's the illusion that we're stuck in. And until we can learn how to see a lens of how we are impacting the field, how people are responding to our energetic output, this is what makes people put them in struggle for a very, very long period of time. And that's why we want to bring awareness. We want to bring mindfulness to these patterns, because if we can avoid them till we're blue in the face, we can say the world is out to get me, or these people are out to get me, or everyone in the world is a certain way. And that's fine, because from your perspective, that's true. That is exactly what's happening. However, you can sit in that for the rest of your life, or you can look at, how do I take ownership of what's happening? How do I begin to bring these practices to it, take responsibility, bring some integrity, and bring some of this awareness practices to actually heal these parts, shift the frequency output of my body, and start having different results with it. So everybody self-doubts. Everyone has negative talk at some point in time. That's just the reality of being a human being with an ego, and that's the functionality of it. So I'll hand it over to Elon to kind of give you the briefing, and we'll see where the conversation goes from there.
Yeah, it's actually very, very interesting that we're having this today, because I was reminded yesterday in talking to my neighbor who's dealing with some difficult stuff around the health of her mom. But one of the gifts, and we say this all the time, like, you learn in life through contrast. Sadly, not sadly, however you want to look at it, I have found that that is really the only way that we learn, right? Like, you don't appreciate health or no health till you're sick. You don't appreciate a fully healthy body until your ass cheeks are sore. Um, but at every such step of the way, like even as I watch my kids go through the learning process of like being human, there's things that happen in school, and contrast is just the greatest teacher. And so she's been, dealing with this stuff, and she was telling me that as she came home and like what she got present to is her mom was so positive about certain things, and it made her realize like how maybe cynical or pessimistic she is or gets upset about certain things, that now she's like, every time she notices it, she's like, I choose not to have that. So if there's like stuff around the house where she's like, oh, this is really annoying, or this doesn't look the way I want it to look, or whatever, she's like, I'm just so grateful that I have this house. Or dealing with this or dealing with that, and she's like, oh, I'm just so grateful that I have the opportunity to be able to do these things, right? And I said something to her, which is kind of what I want to start by bringing through today. I said, I bet it feels like you're lying to yourself in the beginning. Like, I think I just said, like, I bet it feels like you're lying to yourself. And she goes, yeah, I feel like I'm faking it, or I'm this like, I'm an imposter, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that's kind of how everyone starts. And the reason that's kind of how everyone starts is because when you want to shift things like self-doubt or negative talk or negative perceptions or things like that, saying the opposite to yourself is going to feel like you're making something up that's not real. And so I was laughing with her, and I'm sure, bro, you'll remember this, but when Guy and I were developing like what programs we wanted to create, one of the first programs that we ever thought to create was Lie to Me. We were going to name the course Lie to Me. And the reason we were going to name it Lie to Me is because at the end of the day, the things that you're reframing, quote unquote, right? Like the things that you're giving a new lens to or a new perspective to, the reason it feels like a lie is because the other way that you are viewing reality is just as much of a lie. Only you created that lie unconsciously, could be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And over that amount of time that you've lied to yourself, it's like you put on this lens and you said, oh, people are out to hurt me, right? Or like, I'm not very smart, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not good at this, or this is how the world is, or whatever it is. And then for the next X amount of decades, you have been finding proof for that bullshit story that you made up way back when. Now, given a decade, 2, 3, 4, 5 of proof of the world showing up a certain way, of people showing up a certain way, of you showing up a certain way, of your body being a certain way, right? Given that much time and that much proof, could you start to see how that bullshit story that you made up way back when could start feeling very, very real? And our mind is so brilliant, in fact, that when something shows up in our space that doesn't match up with your view of reality, your brain can seemingly squeegee it away and create some other story around it. You don't need to look any farther than politics, especially in this country. Maybe I'm assuming in other countries it's the same, to realize how accurate that is. Where there's like, fact, this is happening. And the other side, whichever side you're on, right, is like, nope, I don't believe that. That's made up. And you're like, yeah, but no, that like there's video proof, like that just happened. No, right? Because like our brain doesn't want to alter that reality, however messed up it is. And so in the beginning, when we're starting to shift these conversations, I want you to get that it's going to feel like you're lying to yourself. Because in essence, you are. But I'm going to say it's not really lying to yourself so much as choosing a new perspective. And the question I always leave people with is this. This perspective that you've had and have held for a long time, over a very, very long time, right? Like, how is that perspective making you feel now in this moment in your life? Does it make you feel light? Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel fulfilled? Does it make you feel prosperous? Does it make you feel healthy? Or does it make you feel tired? Does it make you feel annoyed? Does it make you feel frustrated? Does it make you feel angry? Does it make you feel sad? Does it make you feel helpless? And if it's the latter, is that how you want to feel? Is that how you want to experience life? Because at the end of the day, you're the one that is able to shift that at any single moment. And I'm not saying you're going to tell yourself like, I'm really smart, and all of a sudden like, oh, I'm brilliant. No, it's not how it works. You're battling X amount of decades of proof as to why you are not that way, or why life is not that way, or why they are not that way. And so if you can catch yourself even one time out of 20, 30, 50, 100, and in that one moment, you're like, oh, I'm going to just shift this to this, you're winning. That's you winning the game. And what will happen is the same exact thing that happened before. Eventually, your view, the way that you're viewing life from, you're going to start to notice and gain proof of that new perspective. It's all made up. It's all made up. So if you're gonna make stuff up, to you is, why wouldn't you make stuff up that makes you feel good? That makes you feel excited, that makes you feel passionate, that makes you feel healthy, that makes you feel in love, that makes you feel connected. Like, why would you create anything else? And the reason that you do that is because your mind has a negative bias. And by negative bias, I mean it tends to, in order to protect you, this is like a made up thing, it tends to always look for the danger, always look for what's wrong, because it wants you to be on high alert to not get hurt. And so it's literally scanning, like hyperactive vigilant, for all the stories that you've created way back when, because you thought that's what you needed to protect your being. Right? Like, think about people in your life. You might be one of them, by the way, who are cynical. Right? Like, you see the the cup half empty all the time. Right? So if someone says something to you, it's like, oh my God, this is going to be so great. We're going to do this, this, and this. You're like, yeah, but it also might rain. You know, like, what happens if it rains, you know? And you think you're being logical and reasonable and all that stuff. But really, if you look under, all it is your mind is trying to protect you from heartbreak and disappointment. Right? It's like I gotta, I don't want to set the hope and the bar of that hope too high because if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be really upset and disappointed. And that's what you're trying to avoid. And so this negative talk that keeps looping, all it's ever tried to do is actually, in a weird way, keep you safe.
The buffer.
Yeah. And so if you start to put all of these pieces together, in the outset, you just got to like take those swings and start shifting things. And you're going to notice how your life begins to shift. The secondary piece of this, and then I'll send this to Guy here. It's like the other piece is that part that I just told you about that wants protection or doesn't feel safe or is trying to like protect you from that feeling of abandonment or not feeling worthy or not feeling smart or not whatever it is, right? Our own version. That would be so like level 1 training of our Awareness Effect Academy would be the first piece, right? Like the understanding why the mind does what the mind does. Level 2 and level 3 of our training would be to actually be able to go underneath all of that and start to heal the part that feels not good enough or feels not X enough. Because as long as that part is there, it will run your life. It will control the thoughts that are coming out of your head. It will control the job that you're in. It will control where you live, what you eat, how you dress, who you date. It will control every single piece of your life as it has all this time. All to avoid feeling that pain, feeling that discomfort. And so at level 2 and level 3 of our training, we're actually going to work on those aspects of ourselves so that you can release them, release their hold on you, like that bind that they have on you, so that you can actually go live your most amazing life. And until that happens, you're a passenger at best of your life.
True that. Yeah, so we always want to look at we want to look at the relationship not just strictly on the mind, because most people when they do personal development they consider it like mindset training. And what Ilan's talking about is this like it's this very simple thing that we can do right here right now. Like if you guys haven't seen the demo that I do, and if you can and if you haven't seen it, you can go to soulsandseekers.com/demo to see it. And I do two very simple demos in there. Okay. Yeah, and whoever's asking for the recorded link, this will just be up in the group after this is after we finish the stream, so you can just watch it again. But we will send the replays out as well. So there's two simple things in there that I show you, and one of them is how to locate your subtle witness of your mind, and the next one, which is quite a bit more advanced and is a vast world onto itself, is subtle awareness of energy. Okay. So today, we know that consciousness, however you want to define that, is really nothing more than energy waves and particles, right? It's just like we live in this like very non-solid world. We have a very tough time defining exactly through a scientific lens what consciousness is. Metaphysics is a little bit different in how it looks at things. But what we want to recognize is we want to get beyond this idea that we can go do psychology or just do like talk therapy or just do neuro linguistic programming and just think of that word. It's neuro, mental, linguistic, right? Language, programming. So mind, language, programming. Ilan and I did that work for like 15 years, some variations of different linguistic modalities. Very powerful. But what you come to realize through all that work is that your mind is a story making machine. It can make fantastical stories about anything. Okay, I'll give you an example. If you guys want to do a quick exercise here, think about some area of your life right now that's not working. And then it shouldn't take very long, but like, what's your story around that? Like, why isn't it working? What's not working? Okay. So now take that idea, whatever the story is, right? You can narrate it to yourself if you want, but it takes like a second to just kind of bring it into purview and you know the story kind of intuitively. And this is an exercise we used to do way back in the day. We'd say, okay, now give me a funny version of that story. Okay, so give yourself a funny version of that story. Now give yourself a sad version of that story. Give yourself an angry version of that story. And just for abstraction reasons, give yourself a version of that story where a clown is involved.
Yeah.
So maybe we used to do this exercise and we would sit there and have people write out these different versions of the story. But if you kind of tune in, you'll notice that your mind can on the spot generate any version of the story as long as you direct it to do so. Let me look through the angry lens. Let me look through the happy lens. Let me look through the sad lens. Let me look through the grieving lens. Let me look through the clown lens. And your mind can just begin to generate. And that's probably the most beautiful part about being a human being is that we have this incredible ability to just generate realities. And then the bad part is that we generate the realities and then we live in our own prison of our own making, right? Quote unquote, the matrix that we generate for our lives. The matrix is not something that's being imposed on us. The matrix is something that we impose on ourselves. Okay, like for any of you guys that know the story of Passover, that's what that story is pointing at. It's a metaphor for the matrix of the mind, essentially, right? And them escaping from Egypt is escaping systems, matrices of the mind. And this is just becoming more and more clear. Like as we dig in, even from a scientific quantum physics perspective, or metaphysical perspective, or like ancient wisdom perspectives, everything points at this. Right? Everything points at this. So at the beginning, what's useful is to understand that I am generating the stories of my reality. How do we unbind ourselves from the stories? We begin to listen to how the mind is generating the stories. We create some separation between the story that's being generated that most people don't even see as a story. They actually believe this is the way it is. The story dictates that there's some fixed way that reality is. There's some fixed way in the role that you play in that reality. There's a fixed way that people interact with you in that reality. There's a fixed way that politics happens or the economy happens or all this kind of stuff. And you guys understand that no matter what situation's happening in the world, there are people suffering about it and there's people thriving in it. Who's right when that happens? Right now, we can argue philosophically, well, certain people are in much worse circumstances. They can't deal with that. Okay, there's probably some merit to that, and we could probably find a lot of evidence for that. And there's a certain frequency and level of mind and stories, not necessarily that person is self-generated, more likely that they inherited through their through their families and familial structures and societal structures that they're inside of, and lineages that they're part of. And I could tell you, Ilan and I were born in Israel. We are one generation removed from people who experienced the Holocaust and genocide. Like, that's talked about quite a bit in our lineage. That energies around our people, like Jews are generally like known for being like all-star complainers, right? And it's like we have this very long history, and all our holidays and all our traditions are all the same. Someone was trying to kill us. We survived. Let's have some wine. That's pretty much what happens, right? And so like no matter where you look in our lineage, like that's the energy, that's what's around. So the stories that get generated are that we are often victims of this world. So like we have front row seats to a very, very small minority of people that live inside of that story. That story is all well and good, but it does generate a specific type of reality, a one that you have to survive in, often at your own behest. And for a lot of people, that is true. And I could tell you after doing 20 years of work, like that's the path that Ilan and I were walking down. And that's not how I see reality today. It's not how I experience the world today. And it took fundamentally a lot of commitment and work on our part to unbind those stories. But the first thing we have to do is witness those stories. And the trapping is that when you witness the story, you start making the story wrong.
Yeah.
And the more you make the story wrong, the more entrapped by the story you are. And we've all heard that line, what you resist persists. And that's the reality. Every story in your life that you don't like or you are in opposition of, you generate more of that. When you see political parties going to the extremes, you're watching that happen in real time as more and more, I don't like your story. I'm going to stand opposed to it and create systems opposed to it and laws opposed to it. And then what happens? More separation, right? More extremism. It doesn't end the extremism. It creates more of it. And so in our lives, it's exactly the same. And so the first is to notice it and to begin the process of detaching from the stories. The second part is an understanding that your mind is not living on its own. It's not on an island, and it has an extraordinary impact, both ways, by the way, top to bottom and bottom to top, of what you feel inside of your system, like sensations you feel inside. Okay. In fact, I would argue that you feel directly a sensation within yourself well before the story is generated. Okay, so in our map that we use, what happens first is there's something happening here in the field. You would say a circumstance is happening to me, but at the level of energy, what's happening is energy is impacting you, and there's an energetic response inside of your body. Okay, and it's usually a sensation that you have been led to believe that is not pleasurable and that you are not supposed to be having. And so the mind looks at that and goes, oh, this is not good. And then it starts churning out story. And the story, again, is to try to buffer or protect from this feeling that you're ultimately trying to avoid inside your system. And this is why you're trapped for your entire life. And this is why people never get out of the trap. Because they fail to see that the mind is simply a reactive tool to what's happening inside of their body. And so where most educations, most coaching, most everything that we've ever gone to, it stops at the level of mind. And it completely disregards the fact that your mind is part of a nervous system, an energetic consciousness system that is responding everywhere up and down. And that response is having an impact on the field around you. And that field around you is creating the reality that you want. And so it becomes this giant loop. I don't like this. I don't like this. It outputs into the field. You get more situations not to like. I don't like this. I don't like this. You generate more of that energy, more situations you don't like. And that's what the system is, just mimicking your energetic output. It's like, okay, it doesn't like it. Let me give it more things it doesn't like. It's always trying to give you more of what it is that you're generating in your system. There's an abundance of shit you don't like out there. And there's an abundance of a lot of stuff to like also. And this is the turn that we get to make in society right now, is in recognizing that everything, I'm not talking metaphysics or spiritual science. I'm talking science is pointing at is that this is how it works. You are a tuning fork. That tuning fork is vibrating things in the field, and it's bringing back to you more things that vibrate at that frequency. That's it. And so we can try to rehabituate. We can try to stop self-doubt. We can try to stop negative thought. But the more you do that, the more you try to stop self-doubt, the more you try to stop negative thought, the more negative thought you realize, the more self-doubt you notice. And so that inherently creates more self-doubt, more negative thought. You're like, how come by noticing this, I'm just noticing more of this? Right? That's where all your attention is. That's where your vibratory field is driving to. And so you create more things in your life to doubt yourself about and have negative talk about. And what the whole time avoiding that there is discomfort in your system.
Yeah.
And so the second layer of this, and really the more important layer of this, is learning how to come out of our conditioning. Okay? How to create a subtle witness that can view and observe all this without interacting with it at all. Without getting in the weeds with it, without trying to figure it out, without trying to do, okay, here's what I'm going to do about that, or here's the habit I'm going to form here. Truly, for 20 years, we've tried that stuff. It kind of, sort of, maybe, almost, we can find some evidence that works, but it's minimal at best, the impact that has. Doing mindset work is great for making you a better performer. Like if what you're into is like, I want to increase my performance, I want to be better at my job, I want to have people listen to me better, I want to be more influential, mindset work is phenomenal for all that. But mindset work, personal development, has nothing to do with healing these architectures that exist underneath. It is a great tool for learning how to manage what's going on better and coping with it. However, if you avoid what is happening inside of your nervous system, you will forever be stuck in that trap. And so you will become unequivocally amazing manager, which is, by the way, better than where most people are in their lives. Okay? You will become an incredible manager who becomes incredibly frustrated at the fact that you still feel the same no matter how good you get at managing. Okay? You can manage your kids or your workspace. You can become amazing at that. It will not change the people in the workspace and how they show up. It will not change the way your kids show up. It just won't. Same thing over here. So what we want to learn to do, this will be like the last thing I offer here, and this is what our programs offer you, whether you come to a live event or whether you progress into the more advanced work where Ilan and I train at L2 and L3. What we teach you is that you are existing here, right? Like if you guys look, like where are you witnessing the world from? It's here. It's somewhere here, right? Like some focal point here that seems to be behind the eyes, and all the processing happens up here, and you're experiencing the world from up here. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that awareness, your awareness, is not located there. And you guys just in the chat box, where do you think awareness is located? Okay, where do you think this awareness is located? And while you guys ponder that, someone asked, if you can be in awareness in the body most of the time, do we need all the mindset? You do need the mindset. And the reason for that is what we have found when we just did healing work, energetic, and consciousness work with people, and they go into higher states of consciousness. What the body naturally does when you go into states of higher realms is the body begins to metabolize energy that's stuck in the body. And all of trauma, what psychology and therapy considers trauma, is just stuck energy in the body. So when we go into higher states of consciousness, the body can rest and it starts metabolizing energy in the body. This is actually what heals the body, by the way. This is what heals all sorts of trauma. All of it, really. Okay? Issue is if someone doesn't do mindset work, and mindset work is another way of saying growing up work, and energy and consciousness work is waking up work. That's the contrast. We have growing up work and we have waking up work. So when people just do awakened practices and they're liberating energy, but they don't do mindset work, what you often find is a spiritual teacher that has no integrity. Or what happens is their mind is still untrained, and so it begins to recreate trauma from the past over and over again, and it starts looping it back in, and then they have to metabolize the energy again, and they create it again, and they loop back in. So we need both. Ilan and I have seen that you just need both. Strange to say, but I don't know if you guys saw what happened with the Dalai Lama and that kid. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense until you start understanding these two different lineages between waking up work and growing up work, and you realize these masters of awakening are doing just that. And then they can act in this way that seems so immoral because they haven't mastered anything about the growing up work. There's a lot of mental intelligence in our world right now. There's very little emotional intelligence in our world right now. So back to my question about where it's placed. The answer is it's nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. It is pervasive through everything and everywhere. It's in the walls that you're looking at right now. It's in the air around you. There's nowhere that awareness is not. It's like asking, where is God? Show me where it's not. Is easier than showing me where it is. And so if awareness is everywhere, then why are we so fixated behind our eyes? That might be maybe the most important question of our time. It's like, why are you so fixated behind your eye? And so what you want to understand that this fixation behind your eye is what we call in spiritual circles your ordinary mind, your local mind, and your conditioned mind. So your conditioning is here. And when you perceive from the conditioning, all you get is the responses, the reactivity from that conditioning. And until you learn how to come out of that and recognize that your awareness is not here at all, it is literally non-local. So you can be here with it, you can be in another galaxy with it. It doesn't matter. Like if I ask you, hey, put your awareness on the planet Neptune. Instantaneously, your awareness is on Neptune. If I tell you to put it on the tip of your big left toe, instantaneously, so your awareness will begin to be in your big left toe. And if we continue this process and this curiosity, you'll notice that where you place your awareness begins to change your experience of how it is that you perceive and view your reality and the world around you and yourself. And so awareness is this unbelievable, infinite map that we can play with it in very interesting ways and go into what people think of higher states of consciousness, which is really just locating awareness in different places. And that as you place it in different locations, think 7 chakra systems, these are all different portals for different energy centers in the body. You will start noticing that the quality of your experience changes and what's useful, why Ilan and I are useful, why Ilan and I have spent 20 years and north of $1 million to learn these things is because you need someone who's already done this work and had these realizations, these self-realizations, and awakened and liberated this energy to be able to point at it and even transmit it to you so that you can learn it. And if that seems too abstract for you, it's really no different than the way that a parent teaches a child. Not at all. There's literally no difference to it. A parent is realized, and however they're realized, they're aware of what they're aware of, and the child becomes realized and aware in the same way that the parent is. That's the initial training that any human being gets. So if the parent is fixated behind the eyes and living in their conditioning, so their energetic composition literally teaches like a template to the child to also be conditioned and come over here. Humanity didn't always live up here. That's actually a kind of a relatively recent thing in the last few thousand years. And hence, you see the world of the mind. This is the quality of that world. This is the quality of this mind. This is what happens when it's the only tool that we use. And we are giving it so much energy and so much power and bowing to it. Like it's like the ultimate thing in the world, when it's like, I could tell you from having done this now for many, many years, it is far, 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 far from the only way a human being can live and perceive reality. Right? So when we come out of here, this is what I just want to point to, and then I'll kick it back to Ilan. When we come out of here, there is a intelligent response that our biology has, literally, of self-healing. I cannot tell you how pleasurable it is for Ilan and myself to know that we are not the healers for people, and that it is not our responsibility to heal anybody. We are simply guides that point to the qualities of awareness that we have learned by other people pointing at them. We're like, hey, take a look. Did you notice? And the person's like, yeah, I did notice that. That's interesting. It's like, yes, that's very interesting. Now, have you noticed when you do that, that there's a response in your biology? And the person's like, yes, there is. Okay, what is that response? Well, this is happening. That's happening. Great. Now, as that energy starts to move and metabolize in the body, the person suddenly notices their mind quiets down. The mind becomes less reactive. Because what you're doing is you're metabolizing the source of the reactivity, right? If I stick a thorn into you, or if you're constipated or in pain or discomfort of some way, your mind's going to look down and be like, WTF, we got to deal with that. It's going to react to it. If I pull out the thorn or you stop being constipated, what happens to the mind? It just calms down. So we are working on metabolizing the very source of this negativity, of this self-doubt, of this pain. And all it needs to do is just move out of the system. That's what liberation is. Liberation is not rehabituation. It's not even there anymore. And then habit forming is very easy when the thing that's creating the reactivity is no longer there. Now there's space for something else to arise. And that's where you get to say, it's like, well, now there's all this space. Now what's the reality I want to generate from this energy? Not from the old energy, but I'm reorganized. I'm feeling this new energy in my body. Boom, let's create, let's manifest. Has a lot of potency. The action that you put into the world has a lot of energy behind it. And so that's a common saying that we have here. It's not about the action that you're taking in your life. It is about the quality of the energy behind that action that really matters. You can take 1,000 actions from poor energy, from this energy that you're in right now, this conditioned energy, and you're going to see very little changes in your life. But if you reorganize and the tuning fork changes its output, you're going to start seeing that when you act, it's like new reality just shows up. And every time it's novel. Like it never gets old. Every time that happens, you're like, whoa, that is incredible that that just happened. And so that's it's what we work on here. It's what the meditations that I talked about are for. It's what these programs are for. And this is exactly why you want to do this. And you got to get this is not something that you learn on a weekend retreat. We can open those pathways for you in a few days. But Elon and I haven't learned this in 2 days. We have an insatiable commitment to our self-realization and our liberation. And all we do is we just share as we grow and as we liberate and as we realize these realizations that we're having with other people. Why? Because we want to expedite the process. We're up to a big game of creating people in this world that are realized because it vastly impacts the people around them and the type of results that they're able to produce. And so we're looking for players, right? We don't want, if you want to dabble your feet in it, that's fine and see what we got. That's okay. Ultimately, though, the people who make massive headway understand that this is a lifelong, maybe many lifetimes long commitment that they're making to themselves and their consciousness and their awareness to continue to liberate themselves no matter how many times they decide to re-embody in this physical form, because it all works together. And so this type of healing work is the most profound experience you can have because it literally alters the foundation from which you experience and share your life from.
I So a lot of times people think that they need to get to this place where they do it perfectly all the time. And I just want to put your mind at ease and let you know that this stuff just takes time. And it's all doable, right? So in the beginning, chances are you're not going to catch it in the moment. Chances are you might catch it like a day or a week or whatever it is later. And the good news is this, like the physical body doesn't know the difference between something happening or something happened. It's going to have the same response. And if you want to test this out real quick, you can do this eyes open, eyes closed, and then just bring awareness to the heart. So just like notice what's happening in the heart. And then just bring into your mind's eye someone that you really, really love. Like bring them right in front of you into your mind's eye. You can even like hug them or kiss them and then just notice what's happening to your heart as you do that. Now shift in your mind's eye to someone that you really dislike or don't want to be around. Or it could be a person, it can be a circumstance. And just begin to notice how quickly your heart shifts. Again, just realizing and recognizing that the person is not here in the room with you in either situation. And then just so we don't end with your heart all contracted and closed off, bring that person that you love back into your mind's eye. And then just notice what happens to the heart. Yeah, so someone said from wide open to cramping. And then how quickly back to wide open, right? And so the body doesn't know the difference. It has awareness that is infinite and boundless and timeless. Like whether it's in your mind's eye, whether it's happening in reality, it's going to respond the same way. So in the moment that you missed, right? And you maybe got upset that you didn't react or didn't catch or whatever, right? What you can do is you can sit down, and I'd highly recommend one of our meditations to do this, especially the first healing one, which is week 1 of the 28-day cycle. And what you can do is you can actually First, bring safety into your system. So you kind of like sit in your environment and you just notice that you're safe and in this safe space. And then you can begin to bring into your mind's eye that circumstance, that event that triggered you. And what you're watching for is the trigger. And what we do is with negative talk or talk therapy or all that stuff, in general, kind of the level 1 training that we do, what you're catching is you're catching the volcano after it already erupted, right? You said that thing, you took that act or whatever, and now you're dealing with all of that. That's the level 1 stuff. What I and Guy are pointing to right now is if you can sit in that quiet, grounded, safe moment and bring this into your mind's eye, you can begin to watch with awareness. If this was like if the volcano erupting was 10, right? Something happened before that, and before that, and before that, and before that. And what we start to do is we start to notice these very, very subtle sensations that communicate to us very early on like that an eruption is coming if it's not met in a very specific way. Now, none of us growing up had any teacher that actually had us sit down and do these practices. And so the way we handle them is the way that our parents handled them or guardians handled them. Right? So if sadness, an overwhelming amount of sadness hits your system, you might shut down and run away. Another person might get really angry and really loud. Both those ends of the spectrum are just a self-preservation tool to not experience the sadness. And then you stack on top of that, coping mechanisms. Running, eating, drinking, medication, weed, whatever it might be, right? Just to make this feeling stop. What we want to invite you to, and this is the open door here, is if you actually want to learn how to be with those sensations so that you're not reaching for a pill, you're not reaching for a drink, you're not reaching for whatever coping mechanism you have, but you actually expand your ability to be with the sensations, what you start to do is instead of recognizing after the explosion at 10, you might start to notice, oh wow, there's this like contraction in my heart at stage 6 or 7. And if I actually was to sit and observe and be able to give that contraction my awareness, my watching, then I would never get to 7, 8, 9, or 10. Because I would be able to give it the healing and like what it needs in that very moment. And then eventually you catch it at 3 and 2 and at 1. And that just all comes with time and practice. Practice on the court. Not practice in theory, not practice in, I come to these Tuesday lives and these guys sound really smart and I bet that would be really effective. None of that shit's gonna make any difference in your life. 0. Sorry. You can't be a chef by reading a bunch of books and watching a bunch of videos. Like you got to get in there, right? My daughter's like really, really creative, loves to cook, loves to bake. For every one great thing that she makes, she probably makes 9 that are either burnt or shitty or are inedible. And every single time she learns, she iterates. Okay, I needed to keep it in the oven a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. I needed to mix this a little bit better. I needed to, right? Like she's learning. That's how we learn. All of us. Learning happens on the court, nowhere else. And so if you're willing to do the work, like I would say, step 1 is if you're not in our 28-day meditation, like get on that. Because all this stuff sounds awesome in theory. It is very different in practice. in practice is where you like get in the weeds a little bit and you're like, okay, that feels a little clunky. Why does that feel clunky? Well, that's where you get support, right? Like that's where you have a coach or a mentor be like, oh, just shift this. And then you do it again. And you're like, oh, wow, that feels so different. But no one can give you that instruction if you're just going to sit there and like start to collect more data and more information and more data and more information. And unfortunately, that's where most old souls and seekers live, in the world of collecting more information. Give me that aha moment so I can feel good about myself. And you just keep going back and doing the same thing over and over because you're dealing with it at 10. You're dealing with all this stuff after explosions. And until you start to look deep, deep, deep down in there of what is controlling the explosions, what is the root cause of that, you're just going to keep bumping up into the same exact stuff over and over and over. And we've been doing that. Guy and I, it took us 15 years to figure out how to get out of that trap.
Yeah.
And
And I want to put that question up. I want to put that question on the screen from Tracy. It says, it's so hard though. The range of emotions is overwhelming and how to know how to react correctly in any given situation. So I just want to challenge that a little bit, Tracy. And it's more of like that there is a right way to correctly show up in any given situation, right? So there is like a morality that we have learned. Okay. The right way to do, the wrong way to do. You're angry, you don't show the hostility. Okay. And that is learned. There's no morality in humanity. Morality is a man made thing. Okay. In the world of worlds, when a cheetah kills a gazelle, there's no morality there. That's just the isness and the reality of one being that needs energy and its way to get that. Now we eat plenty of animals. Some people think it's a moral issue. Some people don't mind it, right? Like all sorts of stuff like that. And so there is because of the society or upbringing or religion or whatever you grew up in, there's all sorts of moral undertones that are taught to the child. But I don't know about you. I have a 4-year-old at home, 4.5 now. I also have a 3-month at home. When my son's angry, he shows anger. When my son is sad, he shows sad. He processes what's going on. A tantrum is a perfectly reasonable response for a person who's upset. When we're an adult, we want to have the tantrum, but we don't. And that energy gets bound up and stuck in the body. And then instead of having that moment of release, we spend a lifetime being sabotaged by the subtle nature of what's being locked up in the system. Most people's response to their emotions is bring it back down, shove it back in there, compartmentalize, compress it, and then you feel this tightness in your system, somewhere usually in the center channel, in the heart or the solar plexus, the stomach, the perineum, the throat, and that's what your mind is reacting to, and it will subtly sabotage your life over and over again. The appropriate response to have in any moment is the exact one that your body's having. Your body is intelligently designed. It knows exactly the timing and pacing of everything that it needs to go through. When it's upset, it's upset. When it's happy, it's happy. When it's sad, it's sad. You guys got to get that the conditioning has disallowed you from allowing for that energy to move. The conditioning constrains the energy, constricts the energy. That's what the trauma is. Bad events happen to people all the time. When the repair happens with that person's nervous system, and that's some of the work that we do here, is how to repair the nervous system, how to repair attachment systems, how to do all those things that are not wrong with you. They're just the biology of a human being who's a mammal who needs connection. I guarantee you, every single person causing gun violence in this world or who has terroristic tendencies is living in a very isolated type of reality. They are not feeling connection. They are not feeling love. Guarantee it. And that's been there from a very, very young age. It's a very early trauma. That can be healed. Okay, so it is. Instead of maybe thinking about overwhelming and how much emotions we have, maybe a shift there would be like, it's incredible how much emotions we have. A human being can be in so many experiences and experience it in so many different ways. And we have this incredible feedback system, which is our energetic, mental, and our emotional body that gets to live in this reality and have these unbelievable, complex experiences. Animals don't go through this. At least, I mean, there are definitely animals going through complex experiences, right? Like think that's been proven time and time again that many animals can feel and think in really like abstract and incredible ways. And it seems like nobody has as much of complexity as a human being, which is kind of how evolution goes. It just creates more and more complex machinery, right? But we have been given this incredible gift of being aware of our own consciousness. And inside of that, that means that that consciousness and awareness can hold all these experiences from a very loving, compassionate place. And most human beings do not know how to hold their experience from a place of compassion. They get angry, they get shameful, they feel guilty, they blame themselves, right? All that kind of stuff. But again, all conditioning. I can tell you that something beautiful happens when you locate this awareness. It gives you a whole different avenue to experience your life from. It gives you a whole different avenue to experience yourself from, the reactions that you have. And at the end of the day, you really become like this beautiful holder of compassion for your inner child. Again, like I have 2 children at home. I don't feel like an adult. I remember when I was a kid looking at my parents, I thought it was them as an adult, but as I've become, edging towards my 40th birthday right now, I look at my children and I'm like, I'm a child raising children. Like that's all it is. Like there's no distinction because my awareness, like nothing has changed. I'm timeless in here. The body's getting older, sure. But my awareness, my consciousness, my nervous system, it all works exactly the same as when I was a child. And I think that's what with mindset work you get. You get this very good manager, which feels like an adult, but the child inside is still upset because the child hasn't been able to express itself in such a long period of time. And then you think, oh, it's complicated in there. My emotions are really complicated. They're not that complicated. You just haven't let them out in a while. And so there's a way to hold all that doesn't just create more destruction. Because I think for a lot of people, it's like, well, if I show this anger, it's going to be destructive. It probably is the way that you're going to do it because I did that for many years and I understand that. Or this apathy or resignation that I feel in my system, it feels really sticky and real. I understand that. I really do get that. And I can tell you, again, from personal experience, from working on this with thousands of people, it doesn't have to be that way. We can try to explain to you guys how this stuff works, but there is no secondary to actually being on the court and playing the game and facing this stuff and not avoiding it anymore under the disillusionment that if you avoid it, it's going to go away. It doesn't go away. It just sabotages your life ongoingly. That's just what happens. So if you really want to play, come play, right? Like that's why you want to have a conversation with our team. Okay, what does it look like? What's my time and financial investment? Is this something I want to do? At what level? And have those conversations and at least give yourself the opportunity to make that choice. You don't have to do anything here. It would be stupid to do anything you don't want to do. But if you really want to do this, we could tell you that it requires your commitment. It requires your vigilance. It requires you show up for yourself every single week. Like we don't take one shower a week and then we're like, we're clean, right? Or one shower a month and we're clean. Like you're committed to your health. You're committed to your cleanliness. You show up. You have a commitment to brushing your teeth. So you have teeth again, right? Like as long as you can. It's the same thing with your spirituality. Just you guys gotta understand that people don't invest their time in this. And it seems kind of an odd choice to make because it is the foundation from which you experience everything. So if you want everything to change and transform in your life, it's like when somebody goes to the gym and they're like, I want 6-pack abs, and they're like massively overweight. And they're like, how do I lose weight over here? How do I just get rid of the fat over here? It's like, it doesn't work that way. You can do 5 million crunches. You won't see your abs if there's a layer of fat in your body. You have to holistically approach your health, your eating habits, movement every single day. And guess what? As the body loses fat, then so this area will eventually lose fat. That's why they say abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. But people get like, how many ab machines have they sold over the years? That's the disillusionment. Like, okay, if you just do this ab machine, it's fine. I'm going to see your 6-pack abs. Bullshit. A holistic approach is the only approach. Okay, so I think we'll leave it there. I wanted to leave you guys with this video, but I can't find it right now. So I want to give you guys a sense of the type of work that we do here because it's better to hear from other people's mouths. And so I haven't done this in a while. I'm going to finish off today by just playing out people talking about their experience with doing this energetic work. And you can listen from the mind, certainly. I also want you to see if you can feel what they're emanating because they are sending a frequency with what they're saying as well. And the people are sharing this from a state of awareness, which might feel really different than listening to someone report about things. We do these experiments with people. It's like what it feels like to talk about something from the mind where you're like reporting on the weather versus just being in the experience of enjoying the weather. So I'll play you guys out with this. Again, if you want to chat with our team, soulsandseekers.com /book, and you can have a one-on-one VIP call with one of our consultants. They can walk you through all the process, all the logistics, and all the things that go along with it. Okay. Love you all. Thank you for your time and attention always. And we'll see you here next week. Bye, everybody.
You put words to something that is inexplicable. How do you try to convey, other than I hope the energy and the love you can feel coming through this, like how amazing and cracked open I feel? How after a life's journey of traumas and bliss and books and self-development and walking the Camino de Santiago, which was 800 kilometers in 33 days of meditation and being connected to earth and interacting with other pilgrims for all over the world. What an amazing experience that was. That changed me, but I can't tell you how much more 2 days with all these beautiful souls online in this event, how much more that even cracked me open, how that did crack me open, finally cracked me open. The deep-seated feelings of well-being, of connection, those aha moments, going into this with no expectations, with my heart open, it's life-altering. I sort of equate it to being when you first fall in love with someone and how blissful that is, and everything's great and wonderful, and then, it's the honeymoon period. But this is not that. This is the honeymoon period with yourself, which is never going to end. I cannot stress enough how much this is actually easy, as they had said. Come if you're called, come if you're engaged. My experience, I can tell you, is not atypical. It's extremely typical for those that open up and feel this connection together. Can you do things on your own? Absolutely. Can you do things one-on-one with coaches? Fabulously. I get chills saying this, can you grow in leaps and bounds when you connect with a large group of like-minded souls? The energy between us all, the love, that deep-seated feeling of wellness and connection. You're not alone. You're here for a reason. Nothing's a coincidence. Like, it just all clicks and becomes this most beautiful experience. I hope for any of you that are remotely called to do this, that you will seek these people out, this organization out, this love out, because it's there for you. It's that easy.
I went to their 2-day event this last weekend, and it's just been such a phenomenal growth in my path. I felt like it's exactly what I've been asking for. I had this amazing ability to really, truly come inside myself, listen. So easy. I've been, quote, trying for years, but I think that was part of the problem. I was trying too hard. And when they mentioned just without effort, it almost gave me the permission to just literally feel and drop in and allow whatever was coming up. And in their meditations and in their deep energetic work, I felt so much that it was shocking to me. And I've been able to continue throughout the last few days since the event. And I'm just so grateful. I'm currently in some challenging times, and I feel like that was the missing piece. I've been trying to do it from my mind and not knowing how to really deeply go into my body and feel and heal. And that process was unleashed during this event, and I'm continuing it. And I'm so amazed at how easy and how effortless it really is. Been on a path of embodiment for many years. Lots of self-awareness and personal growth, but it's like that wasn't enough. I felt stuck, and I knew and I felt that there was a lot of stuck energy and, past pain and in my body, and I didn't know how to touch it, even with all the different modalities I've done. This is a missing piece that I've been asking the universe to show me, and when the student is ready, the teachers appear, and that's what has happened. And I'm excited to work with Guy and Ilan some more. And I'd encourage anybody who's thinking about this in this work event in the future to consider it, because it's really powerful, deep, transformational work. Thank you.
I just experienced the second 2-day intensive with Guy and Ilan and Satori Prime, and it's overwhelming. The number one thing is the support. 2, and I said this on day 1 of the 2-day, the abundance of honesty that comes out of this work is in and of itself medicine. Honest with yourself, honest with listening to other people and their stories, not taking it in to a point where it affects you, but taking it in to a point where it allows you to feel and to move through it with them and within yourself. And that's what this program does. At least it has for me. And to feel all of the feels and to not be afraid of them and to have the support when you want to turn around and walk away, they say no. You don't have to. They don't tell you you can't, but they tell you you don't have to. And in doing so, it opens up so much more. The field of energy that was coming through on day 2 was so overwhelming that when my other half walked in to give me some news regarding one of my stressors, I didn't see him. I saw the energy and I saw the emotion and I felt it and I knew it, and I was so protected and so safe that moment alone was worth all the weight in gold. This is a powerful thing. I can see it changing my life in good ways, in ways that I still question, and in ways that I want to still question. Thank you to the entire Satori Prime family. Thank you. I'm better today than I was yesterday. I was better yesterday than I was 2 months ago when I signed up for round 1. And I can't wait to see where this journey takes me and us together, because I know that we're going to be better a month from now, a year from now, because we're doing the work. So, thank you. Mwah.
So I've been trying to find what happened to me that day, and the new traumatic experiences just kept happening to me. And it felt like each one, the next would be more extreme than the last. It didn't matter how many books I read, how much I prayed, how much I meditated. I went to counseling. I still am in counseling. I've been going to counseling my whole life. I had a life coach. I'm actually training to become a life coach as well. Working out, vision boards, affirmations, you name it, I did it. I wanted to know all about it, but it didn't help me stop my cycles. In that second meditation, I've come to aware that I took all of those moments for granted. And that was sad. And it was probably a really big disappointment to look at myself like that I have all of these beautiful days that I'm wasting. And I could be present for them all. Not only for myself, but for a lot of people out there. Sorry. No, I'm not, actually. I'm supposed to feel that. I'm gonna allow that in. Every experience can be different. It truly was a pivotal moment for me of where there was before this experience and after it. And I know that it's only catapulted me to only further my growth. And that to me is something that I can't thank enough, and I can't be more grateful for. So if you guys are wanting to do this experience, I encourage it. I encourage you to do as many experiences as you can, because it's life-changing and it's amazing. And I can't thank enough everyone, even for the mini groups and everything after it that they provide, is support with like-minded individuals that I honestly, I'm so filled with happiness and so much gratefulness in my heart that there's no dictionary to describe this kind of stuff, but I hope that I was able to, put it into a little part of a testimony for you guys and explaining it as the best I could. I love you all.
It's been a wonderful 2 days, emotional, and I just had to take a couple days to process it all, because it just seemed, but it was very, very intense, and it was a wonderful journey to be on, that's for sure. There's 2 reasons for me that hurdles that I kind of had to take. Excuses, right? We make up excuses for ourselves, and whatever they are. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, it's not the right time for me, or I can do it on my own, whatever. You have those excuses and you go back and forth in your own head. And the other thing was that I thought I could do it alone, that what I really needed was I needed help. And I actually came face to face with that. And so those 2 kind of things came to a head, plus talking to Nikki and Corey, I decided, what can I lose, really, right? So you go back and forth in your own mind, and at least I do talk to myself too much. So I took the leap of faith, and I went and I took the 2-day course, and I am so proud and happy for myself that I did. It took me, like I said, a couple days to process it all, because it was so intense, and just the collective. It's such a safe, loving, protected place to be. You don't have to be afraid. And if we're on the fence, going back and forth like I was, I recommend that you just do it. It's a gift for yourself. The support, the love, that's exactly what I needed. I needed to have someone to tell me that, I'm worth it, and I'm not alone, that there's other people out there on the same journey, have the same feelings as well. Thank you so much for just being there. It's amazing. Love you.
Trying to put into words the experience that I had, which is actually quite difficult. I went on a journey for the best part of it. Guy and Ilan are very, very good at guiding people. And obviously within this event there was around 50 odd people all sharing this experience with me, which created a very powerful energy field. And as they were guiding us, and to get people to understand and help you understand certain aspects of yourself, we are multidimensional beings. We live in multiple realities at the same time, and I think what happens is we get pulled into this reality, as beautiful as it is, through our senses, and that isn't every reality. There is lots of other areas for us to explore, and Guy and Ilan are very good at guiding you to open up these different pathways, these different realities. So for me personally, deeply connected to the earth, I felt almost just part of the energy field of the earth at times. I was connected to what I can only describe as beings of light, which were coming to visit me, even maybe ancestral parts of my ancestry, and that was a very powerful experience. And even beyond that, I was viewing the earth from the moon. There was a lot of visuals for me, and I found it very, very powerful to hear everyone else's story as well, and everyone else's experience, should I say. There was a lot of people, they were opening up parts of themselves that maybe hadn't been open for a very long time, and there was a lot of healing going on, and I found that absolutely amazing. I think for me personally, what I can bring from and what I've experienced and what Guy and Ilan really help with is we have a very busy reality. We live very, very fast lives. We have been conditioned, or we've conditioned ourselves to live like this. Everything moves at quite a fast pace, including our thoughts now. I don't think it's always been like this. In fact, I know it hasn't always been like this. And so what this really helps you do is just take in the stillness of everything. And it allows you to really sink in and just allow that stillness to be. And that is by far the most powerful thing I took from this experience. And I think many others would do as well. And if you haven't been on it, I would definitely recommend going on it, 100%. Like I say, it's hard to put into words, the experience.
So I didn't know what to expect from the 2-day Intuitive Mind event. And honestly, I was a little bit anxious about spending that much uninterrupted time just focused on me. But I'm so glad that I followed my intuition and participated, because it far exceeded any expectations that I could have conceived before. Not only was the event itself powerful and transformative, but now it's 4 days later and I have received daily more downloads, information, just insights that have been really special. There's been a new level of calm and peace and just trust in my body system since the event, and that alone is priceless. I can't wait for more events. I think Guy and Ilan are so knowledgeable and supportive, and I can't wait to continue this beautiful journey with you. Thank you so much for the work that you do. I love you, and you're really making the world a better place. So thank you.
I pondered over doing this, trying to work out how do I explain what just happened. The first thing, I guess, for me, a lot of the energy workshops I've done is generally with women. It's generally, it's not unheard of that I go to events and there's me and 19 other women at these events, held space by women. I just seem to be more attracted to, I guess, the feminine, if you need a word. Or there's just not a lot of men going to these type of workshops. I never knew, I just go along. These two have cultivated within themselves the ability to hold gentle, loving space. And from a big-hearted man like me, that to me is priceless in itself. There's a little bit of a finding home. And for a weekend where I did fuck all, there was just space. Just space. To feel the transformation on the spot of people in the group from an energetic perspective, not from the words that they spoke perspective, I loved. What brought me to the event was just I'd only followed these guys, I stumbled across them, I've only followed them for a couple of months. And just went, well, that feels all right, I'm not going to do that. Did I have some resistance after that decision? Of course, I did, What am I doing? A couple of fucking randoms on the internet, shit. I have a little gullible piece, so I'm very wary of being taken advantage of. Yeah, so for you, it's a feeling. It's a feeling. It's not an intellectual decision. If you're making an intellectual decision, it might not be right for you. There is changes that are possible. You just need to put your hand up.
I've been on my self-development journey for 5 years now, and I have always had problems to sustain the energy in my body due to physical pains that I have. And these pains, they like feed the blockages that I have in my body. So falling into mind and stress and self-sabotage over and over again, for me it's just inevitable because I never really could hold that foundation inside, that was missing for me. And when I heard that Guy and Ilan had a live event coming up, and somebody invited me if I wouldn't like to join, because that was exactly what I was looking for, to get unstuck in my energy and unstuck in self-sabotaging myself. So my mind went a bit haywire because I had a work weekend that weekend, and I didn't really have the financial means to join. So I thought it over, and I went to my boss, and I was able to switch my work weekend around, and I lent the money from my husband, and I could attend. So because I knew not going was, just something when it feels right, you've just got to get that. And that's what that event was for me. And during this event, what happened for me was I've never felt something like that before. Nearly at the end of the event, when we were invited to join an exercise, it just released a wave of ugliness and shame inside myself that flooded out me. I could see and feel all that blame, everything just flooded out. And what I realized was that I just forgave myself, and I didn't know that was a work that I still needed to do. And when that happened, it was as if my solar plexus just opened up when all that wave of ugliness and shame went outside my body. I can't explain it any otherwise. And I couldn't grasp these feelings that happened over the 2 days, but it was as if my body and soul were getting ready to release all that. So I didn't understand it, but my body already and my soul knew what was happening to me. And it was just amazing that everything inside myself knew that I couldn't carry those and handle those feelings anymore. So at the end of that exercise, everything that blocked me was just gone. And it was always as if my solar plexus was pushing me down. And now it is as if I have a strong person inside myself, like this strong energy that opens up. I don't know how to explain that. And it's just a feeling like, oh God. Even just expressing my feelings on camera like this, or being vulnerable, it's just nothing that I've ever done. So this is really new to me, and I'm nervous, but it's also exciting to just be able to do this and not hide underneath my stomach anymore and just being pushed away. So it's fantastic. And these are really exercise and tools that Guy used that everybody can learn. I think it's always being so overcomplicated to get in touch with your feeling inside that a lot of people are afraid to do that. And I just went in open-minded, and I just believe everything is possible now. It's just, it's fantastic. It's really fantastic. I've never felt more like myself than I do today. So really, I appreciate you, Guy and Ilan. Thank you so much for the work that you two are doing with this beautiful community. And I just can't wait for the next live event to happen. So until we see each other again, all the best to you, and thank you very, very much for just setting me free and just making me smile the whole day. It's fantastic. Thank you.
I walked in with an open mind, and what I walked out with was a lot more than that. I walked out with an open heart, an open mind, and a whole new experience. And it was so worth it. A life-changing experience, I could call it that. I've never felt that way before. I have read many books. I have taken some courses. I have been working on my personal development. And I found the weekend has changed me forever. I felt at peace. I felt secure. I felt safe. I felt loved. And I felt completely tranquil and still. And it was an amazing, amazing, amazing experience, providing a very safe, comfortable, loving, supportive environment. They constantly reassured us. They were there to support us, and we could feel that. And I thank them so much for that. I felt like I was flying high that day, the point that I had reached through those 2 days in my experience, in my meditations. I have never reached that level before. Also, the people that attended in the group, everyone was amazing. Such great experiences, gave you so much perspective, insights, on what everyone is experiencing and how we can, help support each other, learn from each other, and also build friendships in the Facebook group that we have. That is a wonderful thing. I'm checking it every day, and it's just amazing, the amount of beautiful souls out there, and I highly recommend this. And I hope you too come and join our live experience once again and see what it's all about. And you too will see that it is life-changing. And I thank you all, and I hope to see you there.
Thank you, dear one, for choosing to share a bit of your day with us. We value you greatly. And as a way to give back and help you to deepen these practices, we want to invite you to join our incredible community on Facebook. You can do so easily by going to joinoldsouls.com and ask for an invite. This is our private community where old souls and seekers are able to grow and share their journey with others. We hold exclusive weekly live streams, we answer your personal questions, and offer valuable insights that we won't be able to share here on the podcast. So again, just head to joinoldsouls.com and grab your invite today. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, please head to iTunes and leave us a review. It's the only way other people can find this show, so if it's making a difference in your life, please share the love. Until we meet again, have an amazing week, dear one.